Creatine, is it a bunch of BS? Welcome to part 2 of our supplement education series, where we look at claims versus research on supplements and supplement ingredients.
The basic concept behind creatine supplementation is if you imagine your body has a couple different gas tanks for different lengths and intensities of exercise, the very short-term max effort gas tank is full of creatine phosphate. Supplementing creatine can essentially overfill that gas tank and give you a little bit more of that max effort energy. In the context of lifting, the idea is you may get an extra rep or two on an average set. A couple claims here we have: helps build muscle strength and mass. Subjects gained 6 pounds of muscle. Improve recovery, muscle growth, improve athletic performance, boost strength. Starting off here, 2017 study in trained men. Basically, half of them took creatine for 8 weeks, while the other half took a placebo. To be in this study, you had to have been training at least 6 months, 3 times a week. The average training age was closer to a year and a half. In this study, they trained 4 days a week and measured body composition changes using a DEXA. Everyone in this study trained the same number of reps and sets, but with a variable load. And the result was both groups gained lean tissue, but the creatine group gained more than the placebo. If you remember from the title of this article, the creatine group gained significantly more mass in the upper than the lower limbs. Guessing that's not because of the creatine, guessing that's because of their training split, and they had significantly more volume dedicated towards upper than lower. 8 weeks of training with creatine increased muscle mass more than those training without. I'm guessing that has something to do with the training load that they were able to handle, although that was not reported. We don't really think of creatine having an anabolic effect in and of itself. Here we have a short-term study, just 7 days of creatine loading or placebo loading in resistance-trained men, average age early 30s. The main measure here was reps to failure at 70% of your 1 rep max on a deep back squat. After the 7 days of creatine, we saw a greater number of reps to failure, but we did not see any increase in the 1 rep max itself compared to after 7 days of placebo, which falls in line with what we were saying. Creatine affecting the number of reps you can handle, but just taking creatine for a week isn't going to magically increase your 1 rep max itself. As far as athletic performance, we don't see any improvements in aerobic tests, which we wouldn't expect to see, but we do see significant improvements in anaerobic tests like the wind gait. This particular review is soccer players. We see it across most sports. And when we supplement creatine versus a placebo over the course of 6 weeks in trained individuals, we see greater increases in maximal strength. I know the audience here is mostly younger, but we do research on older people. When they supplement with creatine while resistance training, they also see increases in strength and muscle size, although the results are a little less consistent than those in a younger population. As far as those claims, we do have evidence to support greater gains in size, strength, and athletic performance. We do not have evidence of a lot of the side effects that people like to talk about. As far as what form, at this point, looks like monohydrate is your best bet. People will point to HCl as a better alternative, but we don't have great evidence of that and it's way more expensive. Is creatine BS? No. What supplement should we do next?